Okay, well, my name is Karl Widerquist. I'm co-chair of the Basic Income Earth Network. I am associate professor of philosophy at Georgetown University's School of Foreign Service in Qatar. So I work in Qatar in the Middle East. I've written or edited several books on basic income. It's one of my primary topics of research, and I do a little bit of organizing work for it as well. I'm one of the original editors of Basic Income News. Usually at BN, there's usually been one male co-chair and one female co-chair. And Louise is the female co-chair right now. She was unable to make it to this conference, unfortunately. Now, in my vision for BN is that BN does not lead the movement. BN is the only worldwide organization that is devoted to basic income. But that doesn't mean that BN gives orders and that all those local, regional, national organizations do what BN says. And that would be a bad idea because we could choose the wrong strategy. And as a matter of fact, there's probably a different right strategy for every country. And the people in BN are never going to know that. So BN should not lead the movement. BN should serve the movement. People are going to have all these different needs at all the local levels, and BN has to figure out how can we serve that movement. And what I've suggested that we do is we need to focus on basic income news. You might be familiar with, it's an English language website that reports news from all over the world just on basic income, not things that are similar to basic income, because if we did that, there'd be 100 times more of that than everything on basic income. We report just on basic income, but we get the facts out. It's not propaganda, it's the facts. If you want to know what's going on in basic income around the world, you can find that on Basic Income News. BN can do that, and not a lot of other people, not a lot of other organizations could or would do that. I grew up in America in the 1970s and 80s, right after the civil rights movement. And I grew up in a very integrated community where there are lots of whites and blacks living together very well. And I grew up thinking that racism was solved in America. And I knew about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. And it seemed like, you know, we saw, well, naively as a child, you know, we solved this difficult problem of racism. What is the next most important thing we need to do? And for me, in my country at that time, it is poverty. Is the way we treat poor people is like the way we treated black people after the civil rights struggle. Is that poverty is something that should be unacceptable in a society as wealthy as ours. It's wrong for one person to make another person live in poverty and destitution. And so I grew up thinking that. And so when I found out about basic income, I was very interested in this. This is a way to help people without judging them. Because I think that's what's wrong with the welfare states that we have over most of the world today, is that we want to judge the poor. We want to say these are the good poor and those are the bad poor, and we only want to help the good poor, and we want to teach these people lessons and usually the lesson that we want to teach those bad poor people is you need to work for us, you need to be our servants, you need to do what we tell you. Well, that's a very self-serving idea of what it is that this person needs. So that is what drives me, this idea that poverty is something that can be solved, and that in order to really solve it, we have to stop sitting in judgment of the poor and stop thinking we're better than they are.